Princess Diana was an icon of beauty, grace and compassion. She was loved worldwide and revered for her charitable work. Sadly, the mother of the future King of the United Kingdom lost her life following a fatal car crash on the 31st of August 1997. The shock rippled around the world and many people struggled to accept the death of the 36-year-old princess. Having divorced the first in line to the throne, Prince Charles, just a year prior and fallen out of favour with the royal family, many conspiracy theories were drawn up, one being that she was murdered. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that loves a deep dive. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today I'm asking what really happened to Princess Diana. Before we get into this video, I want to ask you guys what you think. Do you think that she was killed, or do you believe that her death was an accident? While you're down there leaving a comment, I would love to draw your attention to the thumbs up button. If you like our videos, especially ones like this, then please do show me by hitting the like button. Also, please do check out the links in the description box to the people who went into making this video. Stick around to the end, I'll be reading out comments from a previous one. Okay, so the official story goes that Princess Diana was on vacation in Paris with her new boyfriend Dodi El Fayed, son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed El Fayed, then owner of Harrods department store in London and the Ritz Hotel in Paris. On the evening of the 30th of August, Diana and Dodi had drinks at the Ritz and tried to dine at two separate restaurants, but both times were halted as a result of rampant paparazzi activity. The pair decided, along with bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones and Ritz security employee Henri Paul, to drive to Dodi's Parisian apartment, with Henri taking the wheel. Henri Paul had been drinking and was found to be 3 times over France's legal drinking limit. The Mercedes S280 that they were driving in was pursued by a number of paparazzi. Henri sped up to avoid them and, intoxicated, he lost control of the vehicle, crashing in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Henri and Dodi were killed on impact, and Princess Diana later died in hospital in the early hours of the 31st of August. Her bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones survived. The official inquest drew the conclusion that the crash was the fault of Henri Paul, who was over the alcohol limit and driving above the speed limit. Some were not happy with this as the explanation for the loss of England's Rose, the loss of a controversial figure disliked by the British royal family, and indeed the death of a billionaire's son. Indeed, paparazzo Darren Lyons, who was there on the job that night, said that some very strange things happened. Fueled by British tabloids, most persistently the Daily Express and Dodi Al Fayed's father Mohammed, screams of murder were shouted for all to hear. So, was the official investigation really the full story? And why would someone want to murder the pair? This is exactly what Operation Paget was brought in to discuss. The official and extensive inquiry examined around 175 theories as to how and why this could be the case. According to the tabloids and Mohammed Al Fayed, Diana was pregnant. Al Fayed claimed that the British monarchy could not accept that an Egyptian Muslim could eventually be the stepfather of the future King of England, although her post-mortem didn't reflect this at all, and Diana's friends and confidants claim no knowledge of a secret baby. Of course, if she had been murdered and it was all a huge cover-up, then perhaps the post-mortem was too, but really, this is quite far-fetched, as Diana had only been dating Dodi for little over 6 weeks. If she was pregnant, it was more likely that it was that of her ex-boyfriends, Hasnat Khan. Worryingly, Diana was actually paranoid that she would be killed herself, and became increasingly so after experiencing problems with her car. She wrote a tell-all letter and gave it to her former butler and confidant Paul Burrell. In the letter, she shockingly claimed, "This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous." She also claimed that the royals could be, and I quote, "planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for Charles to marry." And Charles was indeed hotting up his relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles at the time and had just thrown her a lavish party in July 1997. It was unlikely that the Queen would have given her blessing for Charles to remarry to the woman that he so famously had an affair with while Diana was alive. But at the same time, murdering her would make her a martyr, and that wouldn't be ideal for Charles's future marriage plans either. Some even think that driver Henri Paul was in on it and he was bankrolled by either the French or UK governments, although the fact that he ended up dead too seems to suggest otherwise. Also, he did work for Dodi's dad, although when it comes to questions of espionage, that doesn't really mean much. Other Others say that the paparazzi plotted to harm her, not kill her, but injure her for a story, but things went wrong. While they were persistent, Operation Paget and French investigator Judge Hervé Stéphane found no evidence of a plot, and they concluded that while the paparazzi chase was a factor that led to Henri's erratic driving, they were acting in a way that is considered normal for the paps. Survivor Trevor Rees-Jones didn't have much to add to the debate. He was seriously injured and lost some of his memories surrounding the incident. From what he has said though, it doesn't seem like he believes that there was a conspiracy. So in conclusion, after 20 years of investigation, while she was certainly a high profile and her death was untimely and suspicious, there is no evidence or proof available to conclude that she and Dodi were murdered. But if we are talking high-level conspiracy British royal scandal, then there wouldn't be any evidence, would there? I for one don't believe it would have ever been in the monarchy's interest, nor would they resort to murder, but millions perhaps would disagree with me. All we know is all we have to go on, and that is over 2 decades of evidence that has been shrewdly observed and interpreted by public and private investigators. When asking what really happened to Diana, for now, when we're talking about her death, the events of August 1997 remain, officially at least, a tragic accident. The same cannot necessarily be said about the way in which she was groomed and manipulated in life, but is a whole other story for a whole new episode of Life's Biggest Questions. Interestingly, I will leave you with this. Dodi Al-Fayed's cousin, journalist Jamal Khashoggi, was murdered in 2018. Coincidence? And the conspiracy plot thickens. So that is all we have time for in this video. Do let me know what you think in the comments section down below. What do you think happened? I am absolutely all ears. If there is evidence that's missing, where has it gone? Let me know your thoughts. Also, if you like this kind of video, if you like this kind of discussion, then please do leave a thumbs up on this video. Do you have anyone else to suggest? Perhaps we could do what really happened to Michael Jackson. Would you like to watch that video? Let me know. Also, if you haven't yet clicked on that notification bell, now is your time to do so. Before I leave, I just want to read some comments from one of my most recent videos. What if the Zodiac Killer was caught? A lot of people were talking about Ted Cruz in the comments, but I think for now we ought to leave that one alone. Yo Human Frisk said, I'm very sure that Zodiac had knowledge of forensics and was possibly a forensic specialist himself, which is why he didn't leave any evidence. He was probably right under the police force's nose. Yeah, I mean, possibly. The Golden State Killer was proven to be a member of the police force, so maybe there's something in it. And Rebecca W said, I think he'll be found one day through genes testing like the Golden State Killer. Kate Ross said, I'm just putting it out there, but what if the Zodiac Killer and the Golden State Killer are the same person? It would make sense if you really think about it, because they were both killing around the same time and lived in the same state. And the description is so similar to each other. I'm just saying that I believe it. Also, the killer could have just moved away from California after a while and become another name to another serial killer in a different state. Honestly, all valid feedback. I certainly do hope that we do find the Zodiac Killer one day, if there was just one. But again, that's a discussion. If you guys haven't watched that video, then please go ahead and do so. For now, we've reached the end of this one. Once again, please don't forget to leave me a comment and leave a thumbs up. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate. I'll catch you in the next video, but until then, stay curious, stay alert, and never ever stop questioning.